you'll be released today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So just get that set for the trial calendar. Yeah, it's today is day number 1 on a 90-day clock. Okay, sure. And in Nisqually Jail, your name?
Adam, you talking to me?
Is it Mr. Fraug?
Mr. Nabil Farag, Your Honor.
Very, thank you. All right. And you're here on several warrants. We've got City of Tumwater and State of Washington. And 1 second, I'm going to talk to my clerk. There's another one that we didn't get to the calendar. Okay. It goes all the way back to February 22 of 21. Here's the cause number. Thank you. Oh, all right. So we got several. And Mr. Stillwell, have you had a chance to talk with Mr. Farag about all of these?
I have, Your Honor, and I believe to begin, probable cause has been established on all of them. And so I've had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Fraug about his constitutional rights. I believe he understands them. No need to deal with probable cause. We'd like to enter a plea of not guilty on each of these. I believe each case before the court this morning is an arraignment.
Well, most of them are.
Most of them.
Some are pretrial, or still pending trial, I should say.
Okay.
Your Honor, the attorney.
Mr. Farag, let me hear from Mr. Stillwell, and then I'll turn one person at a time here.
He's not.
And Mr. Still.
He's not entirely my attorney.
Well, he's here from Thurston County Public Defense, gratis of the county, to help you today.
I know. I appreciate the help, and but I mean, we need to seriously consider my custody status because I've got a lot.
That's what we're talking about, Mr. Farag. That's exactly what we're going to get to today.
I got 3 purebred German Shepherds in the house alone, and they're never been left that long. And I don't have anybody to take care of them. Luckily, today is not as hot as it was yesterday. They were fed before I left, dry food. They usually get better food than that. And the water and my house
So,
is
Mr.
not locked.
Farag,
It
let
was
me
not
get
secure.
back to that. I have to deal with some logistics first, and then we will talk about all that. But let me hear from Mr. Stillwell without interruption at this stage. So, Mr. Stillwell?
Thank you, Your Honor. So we would like to enter pleas of not guilty on the matters before which there's arraignments this morning. I do understand some of these matters were failures to appear. I believe those were for arraignments for all except for perhaps one. The matter ending in 393, which is the last one on the calendar list.
So we'll continue not guilty pleas on those that were entered, I take it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and then accept not guilty pleas to, let's see, disorderly conduct, criminal trespass, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 counts of violation of protection order or some kind of order restraining, malmish, 2 counts of malmish, and 1, 2, 3, 4 counts of driving while suspended third, and 1 reckless driving. Will continue that not guilty plea and proceed on to a pretrial conference. So going forward after today, Mr. Farag, would you like the court to appoint Thurston County Public Defense to represent you?
It all hinges on whether I get PR'd or not, Your Judge. I want to stay in close contact with the court now that we have broken the ice as far as appearing before the court. There was
So
problems.
answer my question if you would, Mr. Farag.
No, I don't want an attorney. I don't want an
appointed?
attorney to supersede me and supplant me and silence me. He doesn't know
Okay, so
any
you
of the
want to,
facts.
so you want to represent yourself after today is what you're telling me.
Well, yeah, but today is far more critical. It's going to have a bearing on what happens after today.
All
Because,
right, well, maybe we'll revisit that. All right, so
a fair
let me hear from
trial
the
all hinges
prosecuting
on what
attorney.
happens today.
Let me hear from the prosecuting attorney and then we'll turn back. So Mr. Farrow, on behalf of the city and the county, what are you asking of the court on release conditions?
Well, Your Honor, as the court's aware, Mr. Fraug, I think, has 13 active warrants, as well as a very lengthy criminal history. However, looks like I think all of these matters are from 2022. And it looks like most of the warrants were issued within a 2-month span. I've read through as many of the police reports as I had time to, and quite honestly, I'm not sure what's appropriate here, Your Honor. Doesn't seem like there's violence in any of these charges. It's mostly just the sheer number of them. I hate to do this. I think the state's going to defer to the court as to release conditions on, or as to what to do with the warrant on these cases.
So, Mr. Stillwell?
Thank you, Your Honor. In speaking with Mr. Fraug, the failures to appear seem to have been stemmed from his inability to attend court in person and his sort of lack of technological ability to attend via Zoom previously. He does now have smartphone capability. We discussed the fact that he could attend, if out of custody, over Zoom for certain hearings. We have good contact information for him. And so considering, sort of acknowledging the number of cases however, pointing out the sort of the lack of violence here in the criminal history, and the warrants being issued for sort of failures to appear, as was indicated, within a reasonably narrow amount of time, we'd ask for him to be released on his own recognizance. I'd be happy to chat the phone number for Mr. Fraug's smartphone to the court so they have it, so he gets text reminders and is perhaps able to attend via Zoom when
they already have it, attorney. They've sent me text messages.
Right, and Mr. Fraug was back at the front counter of the court all the way back August of 2022. We gave him a court date, and he didn't appear again to clear up those, and then there were new law violations. So
September 22. There hasn't been any new violations, Your Honor, in the last year, whether it be traffic or the non-traffic, the anti-harassment case. It all has to do with the neighbors next door, and they've given me difficulty. Safety.
So why didn't you come back to court? You came to the front counter to clear up those warrants. We gave you a court date, and you didn't come back. And then you contacted us.
Well, I know September 9th, I dislocated my thumb. I wouldn't have been able to write in court. I'm right-handed, and then I've had 2 dogs, 2 purebred German Shepherds that cost me $3,000 combined. And they have me restricted. I can't move. I couldn't bring them in the courtroom. And then right now I have to be careful where I take them, where they sit, because if they go poo-poo or pee-pee, they're going to make a mess. And I ended up foolishly getting a 3rd dog, a 10 and a half weeks old chocolate lab, cost me $900 last Sunday. Not this Sunday, the Sunday before. So it's going on 8 days. But I want the court to work with me. I want you to consider my rights, because the neighbors have been pushing me around. It's been going on 5 years. It has had a dramatic effect on me. And I just wonder, their hands are not clean, Your Honor. So these charges that have to do with the neighbors at the dual buildings, they are subject to mitigation. I want to explain this. I'm going to file a civil lawsuit, but my house has been damaged. I've got roof damage that has resulted in 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, a hole in a big, large bathroom, and mildew has crossed the phone. That's where my computer is, my main computer. With Windows 7, I think, and it's got my other computer at the other end of the house. The Windows 7 went on the blink, and those computers are not. They don't have the they don't have the Word software, Microsoft, And so I'm struggling with a lot of difficulties and restrictions, the dogs, the
So,
house
Mr. Fraug,
damage and
the court has to make a decision here, and we've issued at least 5 warrants on one of these matters to get you back into court. Let's go
Well,
back.
I want to start
Go up.
fresh.
Don't
Your
interrupt
Honor.
me, Mr. Farag. I'm ruling. This goes back to
I wanna start fresh.
2021, not being able to come into court. We've continued things. We've allowed you warrant quash hearings. You
Your
haven't
Honor,
come
we
in.
had
You
to
haven't
see
come
how-
in. I'm asking you not to interrupt me, Mr. Frog. So at this stage, we have not been able to get anywhere with your cases because of you. I'm going to have you post 500 cash or bond on each matter. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 matters to ensure that you come back. And I'm appointing Thurston County Public Defense. Now you'll tell us once you meet if you want their assistance or not, but I want you to have that opportunity and then to make a decision about that once you talk to them. But these cases carry some significant significance to you. So we'll have a pretrial conference. If you post bond on all of these, then you bring yourself into court or you come by Zoom. And I'm going to set that hearing for June 30th at 10 in the morning. If you're still in custody, we'll have a hearing at 1:30 in the afternoon, and you'll have benefit of having time to talk to an attorney. But in the meantime, you don't drive, you don't violate the law, you don't violate no contact orders, and you come back to court. So that's it for today.
.28 a.m. 3 weeks later.
And you're here today with your pet dogs, despite that instruction.
Car at the time of the hearing, you told me to come in, I didn't come in fully.
You're currently in the courtroom, and you're currently in the courtroom with your
You called me
dogs.
in prematurely.
Have you made contact with your attorney yet?
No, I don't see him, I talked to him on the phone
And
1 or 2 days ago.
Your attorney's Mr. Pazdurka?
But he's gonna withdraw,
All right,
because he's causing me difficulty and he's obstructing me.
all right, hold on just a second, and I'm gonna ask Ms. Collada here a question.
And I didn't catch this gentleman's name.
This is Nabil Farag, and I think he's represented by Mr. Pazdurka.
Okay,
He's on the 10 o'clock calendar.
let me catch up. And Your Honor, my notes indicate that he is in fact represented by Mr. Pasterka.
Okay, all right. Then, Mr. Farag, I want you to wait outside of the courthouse with your dogs and contact your attorney, Mr. Pazdurka, by phone, and he'll give you instructions on when you can go. He'll appear.
Essentially, he's gonna withdraw, I'll try to contact him by phone, but we did an affidavit of prejudice with you regarding the traffic cases, that applies wholesale.
No, Mr. Frog, just let's stop for a moment and just focus, okay? Just focus on the current cases that you're here for today.
But I want to reset the hearing because I'm having prejudice with delays.
This-
As far as a new violation.
Here's Mr. Pazdurka right now. All right, so just hold on. I'm gonna address Mr. Pazdurka. Mr.
Yeah, I don't have
Pazdurka,
my paper and my notes.
thanks for coming in.
Morning, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Farag is here. As you know, he's got a number of cases on the calendar today. He was previously instructed by court staff not to bring his pet dogs to court, and he has nevertheless done so. He's currently here in the courtroom, and so are his dogs. I'm going to have him leave the courtroom and attend to his dogs outside the courthouse. But since you're here and he's here, and these are pretrial hearings, I'd like to know if you know what it is you intend to do, so maybe we can conclude this hearing and send him on his way.
Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Farag on Wednesday, and it is my understanding that he is asking for the public defender to withdraw on his case as he'd like to represent himself.
Is that, and you've had that conversation with him and that's what you intended to present to the court this morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor,
Just before you launch in there, Mr. Fraug, Mr. Pazderka, can you share with me any of the basis for this? Is this a situation where he needs a different attorney assigned or he wants to represent himself?
Your Honor, I believe it is a situation in which he would like to represent himself. I attempted to discuss the cases with him. There seems to be some disagreement as to what arguments he would like to be presented. I tried to discuss with him the legal viability of those arguments and the limits of, what can be addressed today. He indicated that he does not want me making arguments related to the facts of the case, I think is what he stated. And so on that basis, I indicated that if he doesn't, want me arguing the facts of the case, I asked if he would rather be representing himself to make those arguments, and he said he would. He did mention that he assumed the court would appoint or leave us as standby counsel. So is my understanding based off that conversation that he would like to represent himself, but he understands that there's also the potential for us to be standby as well.
And I can certainly take that up, but not now. Mr. Fraug, the fact that you've brought your dogs with you, despite having been told not to bring them, is causing a delay in your case.
no, Judge, no.
I'm instructing you now, Mr. Fraug.
10 o'clock.
I'm instructing you now to take your dogs out of the courtroom, secure your dogs at home or somewhere else, and come back to court and be ready to deal with your case.
At 10 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I plan to do.
Yeah.
You called me in.
Don't,
Sure.
because you brought your dogs to court. Do not bring your pet dogs back to court.
I brought him into the
All
lobby.
right, I'll see you at 10
And I was
o'clock.
in here trying to,
I'll see you at 10
check
o'clock.
in with Teresa, right?
Mr. Fraug, I'll see you at 10 o'clock. Until then, I'm going to deal with some other cases that are set earlier on the
I'd
calendar.
like to get a
Now,
reset.
take yourself and your dogs out of the courtroom. Do it now. Mr. Fraug, do it now.
You told me to come in the courtroom.
At this point, I'm instructing you to take your dogs and leave the courtroom with them.
Judge, that's what I'm gonna do, but I just want an understanding. I want an understanding because there's a lot of misunderstandings involved, in general.
Mr. Fraug, please.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now, let's call some cases that are set earlier on the calendar. Ms. Collada, sorry for the interruption.
Your Honor, may I please ask?
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
Since he's still here and he wants to proceed pro se. So, Mr. Fraug, would you mind coming up to the table? All right. So, Mr. Fraug, as you probably recall, earlier this morning, Mr. Pazderka indicated that you preferred to represent yourself in these matters. Is that the case?
Yeah, Your Honor, let me just say, regrettably, the attorney is obstructing me. First, right off the bat, we need the police reports. They're going back and forth. The prosecutor's office says they've had them for a week. He wants to send them back to the prosecutor. They want to redact it. And the redaction, I indicated that it was going to become an issue. If you redact it, I didn't get the police reports.
Okay.
I can't proceed until we get the police reports. In addition, Your Honor.
Before we dive into that, though, yeah, absolutely. Before we dive into issues like that, discovery or what have you, let's focus first on whether you're going to be representing yourself. And I want to clarify that because we appointed an attorney for you, obviously.
That's another issue, Judge.
And
the appointment.
If it's an issue of you and Mr. Pazderka aren't working
Questions?
well together and you would like a different attorney,
Okay.
we can do that. Or if you don't
Yeah, I
want any
understand, Judge. I
attorney.
understand. I fully understand. Let me just explain the circumstances. I only had one phone call with him. His voice box is full. And his assistant, Mr. Ian, capital I-A-N,
Mhm.
he's a smart aleck. And so we got multiple negatives there. And I appeared before video, excuse me. I appeared before video court, Judge, at Nisqually Jail, and the attorney then was Stillwell.
Mhm.
And but I wasn't aware that I was appointed an attorney. And then I want the police reports, and I'm getting a runaround between one office and the other, prosecutor, court-appointed attorney. Right now, I need to address preliminary matters
Mhm.
before we even proceed. And one important preliminary matter is the jurisdiction of the court. Now, the anti-harassment order has precluded the traffic cases.
All right, well, let's,
And
all right. I
let me just
understand-
say,
I understand
my thought here,
you're not happy with anything that the public defender's office has done for you. And that.
well, we can work with another attorney, but after all is said, a standby counsel that assists me if I have questions would be fine, but he's not gonna supersede me because I'm not gonna give the state or the attorneys. I've had difficulty with Jenkins,
Yeah,
which
yeah. If
is
you-
related
if
to
you
your
have,
qualifications.
if you have standby counsel, you definitely get to call the shots, so to speak. Yeah.
But
I'm
I don't want the standby counsel to be telling me that, or the other offices to be telling me that I have to go through the attorney when I have standby, and then I got to go through a lot of explanations.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that. And I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not real inclined to set up a standby counsel situation unless for some reason it's a good
You're
idea.
saying, Judge, you're saying that it's all or nothing. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think, yeah, in the normal situation, it should be all or nothing. But if you want standby counsel, I would do that for you.
Well, tentatively, we can go with the option of standby counsel.
Yeah, okay, hold it down a little bit, okay? We're on the record here. All right, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Fraug.
Well, we can, standby is a viable option. I
Sure.
mean, we don't want to eliminate that, but right now we have preliminary matters. I wanted to prepare for this hearing. I didn't know who the judge was. They don't say, it's at the last minute that you find out. And I need the police reports. I need the video. Now, the police reports include, Josh is witnessing my request here. The police reports include video footage.
Mhm.
And now we need video footage
Oh, God, and
in another situation because the plaintiffs in this case that brought the anti-harassment thing, they actually are the culprits. I'm the victim. That has to be determined or appraised immediately before we can proceed. And then also, Judge, the jurisdiction includes, excuse me, Commissioner, it includes, well, see, this case is complicated, Judge. We're not going to proceed to trial immediately, and then there's going to be a waiver of speedy trial, and it's set off, and then we have a civil lawsuit involved, which is gonna go hand in hand or vice versa. And see, I don't know why this guy was talking loud like that.
So just focus up here.
But the camera footage and the police reports, and then I need discovery, the culprits, the people who brought I need discovery as far as the lease. They have tenants who occupy a commercial property right next to my property, and they have been imposing their wayward practice or the use of their buildings to my utter continual perpetual prejudice. Now, I want a hearing reset immediately so I can cover motions. I don't want a discretionary ruling by you because the traffic cases have become just out of control beyond remedy.
Are you talking about the criminal traffic charges that are here in court today, or those other charges you've had in the past?
Well, we're talking about the traffic cases in general, that before this Thurston County District Court.
Yeah.
Because the culprits have stolen my traffic carry bag, my computer, and hard copy. And you wouldn't believe what I had in that carry bag in the truck. They broke into the truck, and they've done more than that. They've done far more than that, and then they continue to violate my rights, my property rights. And we won't go into that right now, but I need a hearing before a viable judge. And the traffic cases, and you presided, you initially started the situation when I asked for a show cause hearing on a negligent driving or something to that effect. And Mr. Jenkins was the court appointed attorney at that time. Whether he was fully or whether he was standby, it was half and half. Let me save on that, but
I get what you want here, Mr. Fraug. How about this? How about if I change Mr. Pezderka's status here from being your attorney to being standby counsel, and you can.
Well, I don't want Mr. Pezdera at all because his assistant
conflicts.
And then I'm having disagreements and disputes how the facts applies to the law with him on the phone.
Yeah. Okay.
And he doesn't realize who he's dealing with.
You want a different public defender to be standby counsel?
Well, Jenkins. I liked Mr. Jenkins, the black man, but he says he's gone to the felony division.
Yeah, it wouldn't be him. He's not assigned to that unit anymore. It'd be somebody else over in that office. I don't know who.
And this is Miss Williams.
She's the prosecutor.
Miss Williams.
Miss
Okay.
Williams.
So anyway, at least we know who's who and who's who.
Well, okay, then let's do this. Let's change the public defender's assignment to standby counsel, and then they'll assign somebody for that.
Yeah.
Okay. They'll let you know. And
now,
then,
as far as the follow-up hearing, I'm very concerned, Judge.
I know you want to represent yourself.
No, I'm concerned about a new violation.
Well, we got to keep the focus a little bit tighter.
And then jurisdiction is gonna hinge on jurisdiction of the court because I was not given. See, the traffic cases have been pigeonholed, sidetracked because of the anti-harassment.
You can bring the appropriate motions. I want to give you that opportunity. You talked about doing that, and you can. But in order to make that happen, we're going to have to do two things. One is for today, we're not going to make any decisions. Excuse me. We're not going to make any decisions in your case, in any of the cases.
Sure.
We'll set off to a future hearing, and then I'll give you a period of time to get your motions filed so that the calendaring clerk can get you a motion hearing calendar. And you can spend that time getting your.
We don't know, you Judge. We don't know how far out that motion hearing is going to be, do we?
Yeah, it's not going to be too far out because we have issues that are, kind of constraining.
If we have a new violation, excuse me, Judge, if we have a new violation on the anti-harassment and there's a warrant which subjects me to arrest, we're going to have a big issue with the Thurston County District Court.
Well, I can't control that. That's
why
the prosecuting authority is going to decide whether to charge you with any.
They have not been charging me, Judge. They were hesitant to even charge me with one of those cases, and they haven't effectuated the warrant. It was the culprits who effectuated the warrant.
If the prosecutor charges you with a crime, we'll deal with it, but we don't know if they're going to or not.
But when I come to court, I can't come in here when there's I'm going to possibly attempt to come in to court, especially with a warrant, outstanding warrant. through Zoom, video court, or that. But this is all new to me. I just don't have the mental focus to do that. And I got the phone numbers and numbers from Justin, your clerk.
You don't have to do it by Zoom. You can come in.
I know I can, but if there's a warrant, Judge, I have to worry about 3 purebred dogs. Right now, the little one, 12 weeks old, is in a cage, and he's got hoarse throat because he whines and cries when he's in the cage.
Well, there's no warrant, so you don't.
No, I know there's no warrant now, but if there is a warrant because of a new violation, I could try to come in for Zoom, but it's going to make it difficult. I'd prefer to come in person in open court.
Sure.
You see, but I've got property that I have to protect. I have 3 dogs, purebreds, that entail several thousands of dollars. And I have to be concerned if they're in the car. If the day was hot, I'd have to be concerned about them being in the car, even with the windows cracked a little bit. And if they're left, if they go to animal services, which has happened twice, they've incurred infections. The harnesses, equipment on them have disappeared.
All right, Mr. Fraug, I have a lot of court business to do, so I'm going to kind of move this along. We'll reset your hearing. We'll reset the pretrial hearings in these cases, and anytime between now and the next pretrial hearing date, you can file your motions.
Okay, Judge, let me tell you this. Right now, the court does not have jurisdiction. Because the service
that would be a motion that you would file.
He made 4 attempts, which I don't know what that is, to serve me. Then they threw the paperwork over my gate, and then I got it one day after the date of the hearing.
You may be right. You may be correct. I don't know, but that's issue that's going to have to be brought to court in the form of a motion. You know that. I can't decide that right now on the fly.
Well, I'm concerned, like I was saying, Judge, I'm concerned about a new violation because I have no choice but to violate the anti-harassment because I have a right to protect my property.
Now, Mr. Fraug, what I'm going to do, like I said, and I'm going to
say, as I understand it, Judge, you really can't do anything about a new violation.
I can't. But I'm going to have to ask you to kind of slow down and take a breath, all right? I've got a lot of court business to do today. I know what you want, and I'm trying to give you what you want as far as I can.
The next judge has been given notice via yourself.
We all know you, Mr. Fraug. We all go way back. We know that you expect to represent yourself. It's not a problem.
See,
I just want to make sure.
Here's the essential thing. Let me just include for the record, Judge. The camera footage on the crime committed against me was August 5th, 2022. The police have been difficulty getting camera footage from the possible culprits, 2 of them. And then they don't want to release that footage, which they have a right, they're obligated to, according to my position. And that would solve everything.
Right.
And then
and maybe it will, but
because otherwise, Judge, I have to prove that they did it according to what they did and what they didn't do when they committed the crime. They damaged a $40,000 to $65,000 box truck in 3 different ways. They took the catalytic converter, and that's not the first catalytic converter I suspect they took.
We can't address any of that right now.
Well, I can go on and on, Judge, but
okay, so let's get you set up for a future court date. Okay, you wanted that continuance, and you can have it since you're now representing yourself. You get your whatever you feel you need to file by way of motions. You get those ready to file and file them, and when you do, we'll give you a hearing date for that.
Okay, if there's a new violation and there's a warrant put out for me, I'm going to go beyond affidavit of prejudice. It's going to be a change of venue.
Right, and you can bring, like I said, you can bring any appropriate motion.
We have a long history, like you indicated, Judge. We have a long history, and this is the last straw that's going to break the camel's back. So please notify Judge Wilcox, Judge Myers, Judge Buckley, all of whom I admire, that if there's a warrant, we're going to make a tentative change of venue to Pierce County because Judge Oaks concerning the traffic cases. He's a good judge.
You can, like I said, you can bring that motion if that's what you think is appropriate.
Okay, I'll make a written motion, Judge. In addition to what we, the colloquy in open court today before yourself.
Yeah.
Does that sound reasonable? Does that sound?
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not, you can bring any appropriate motion you'd like.
And then the discovery motion for the lease of the tenants at the commercial property next to me. Would that be a motion with the court to order the prosecutor?
This discovery is between you and the prosecutor. If it comes to a conflict between you and the prosecutor over appropriate discovery, then that becomes a motion before the court.
Okay, so I will make a motion before and after and discuss the prosecutor.
Well, what you should do is ask the prosecutor for discovery. And then they will respond to that. And if you believe that it's incorrect, you can make a motion to the court appropriately.
Well, this is a better way, Judge. I'll make a motion in addition to making the request. The motion will be a request with the prosecutor.
Yeah, you can't really do it that way. You need to make the request of the prosecutor first.
They'll deny me or give me difficulty, then I'll make a motion.
What they'll do.
Huh?
I don't know what they'll do.
Well, that's what I assume they'll do because
if you believe that their response is incorrect, then you can bring a motion to.
Okay, Judge, I know you want to move on to the next case.
I do.
And I appreciate your time.
I think we understand each other. We will get that court date set and sent to you. It'll be roughly about 30 days.
The traffic cases are dog-eat-dog situation.
Well,
the highway, the road, the motorists, accidents, damages to my vehicles. I mean, there hasn't been any accidents.
Just before you go, Mr. Fraug.
And this particular anti-harassment, that's many times a dog-eat-dog situation.
Yeah, just before you go, let me tell you that your deadline for filing your motions will be on your next court hearing date. And you'll get that date in the mail. And I believe we have your up-to-date mailing address. Okay.
So you're saying, Judge, what are you saying? You're saying that's my last chance to submit motions?
That'll be your deadline for filing motions. And we'll address that at your next hearing if we need to.
Okay.
Yeah, great job.
So it's not
well, today will be a new commencement.
It's not cast in stone. I mean, there's variables.
Yeah, there are variables. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, if the circumstances warrant, we can take another look at it.
I appreciate your time, Judge.
Okay, we'll see you next time, Mr. Fraug.
I regret these cases, the traffic as well as anti-harassment. I was minding my own business, Judge.
Yeah, that's what we're here.
I'm minding my own business, and they're cutting my fence, coming over and stealing things and damaging things.
Like I said, we're not deciding any of that today.
No, but I'm just telling you,
trial. Save that for the trial. Okay, we'll see you next time, Mr. Fraug.
Okay, sir.
And I'm gonna kind of cut you off and go to the next attorney.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, and then Ms. Lesh, did you have any luck getting Ms.
I got 3 German Shepherds in the house alone, and they're never been left that long, and I don't have anybody to take care of them. Luckily, today is not as hot as it was yesterday. They were fed before I left, dry food. They usually get better food than that. And the water and my house is not